Hello. Hopefully you can hear me this time. Welcome to Trigger Warning special show tonight. But before I start, I'm going to say everything again that I said before. Tonight's show has been brought with accountsdirect.biz. Accountants on your side, they're one of the biggest reasons we can keep the lights on here and do everything. Basically, if you've got a small, medium business, it's brilliant. Just throw all your shit in a box, get it off to them, and they'll take care of you. And if you're in the shit, they'll get you out the shit and keep you out the shit, which is perfect. What more could you want? So that's www.accountsdirect.biz. And also, if you'd like to help support Trigger Warning, do go to patreon.com/triggerwarningtv and become a patron, which guarantees your place in heaven. We've got a very special guest with us tonight. Is, of course, Mr. Richie Allen.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
I think we're live now.
We're live.
We're live.
Got green bars.
We've got green bars. Thanks
bars.
for letting me back on the telly.
It's a pleasure to have you here, mate.
I was stuck in a room somewhere with Jim Davison and
the green room.
The green room, and I'm back. It's great to see you.
Back in the building.
And the setup is absolutely amazing. Of course, we go way back.
Yes.
We've been doing telly for years.
Yes, seasoned professionals.
The two Ronnies. Those shows are still on YouTube. If anybody
they are, and they still do go and watch them on Richie's channel.
Is it interesting that somebody did that?
Somebody's fucking with us, Richie.
You know, half of my listeners believe that.
That's what it is. It's because, you know, this never happens, but now that you've come on, the man's onto us, dude. Yeah. Oh, I wasn't going to come to that quite so soon, but sorry, guys. By the way, there's something.
We're back,
but we're back. There's nothing else. It's all working fine now. In case you didn't notice by Richie's accent, you were born in a small island off the coast of England.
A small island off the coast. No, a small island even off the coast of America, off America's east coast. Yeah, Ireland. Yeah, so, place called Waterford. Yeah, Ireland's oldest city. Right. And a beautiful place, Port Lorga. And would you believe, it's amazing you bringing up Waterford, our hurlers. We play a sport called hurling. You've seen hurling. We've made it to the All-Ireland hurling final this year, which will take place in Croke Park on Sunday. Oh. It's a summer sport, but of course with COVID and all that garbage. So I would imagine the atmosphere in the city is quite excited. We last got to the final a couple of years ago. We haven't won it since the 1950s. A lot of excitement. Great city. But I've not been home for a long time. I spent a lot of time on the road. Spain, Manchester, then Spain, then Manchester again, then Salford. So, I'm from Waterford.
Bit in London.
A little bit in London, which is where we met.
Yes.
At TPV. So I've been around the houses a bit. In Salford now, which is great. Love it in Salford.
So what got you into, because I know you've done commercial radio before you went into the
more
esoteric areas. What was it that got you into radio? What made
accident,
you want to
really. It was an accident, really. I was nightclub DJing. And that was probably the last thing that I was any good at, probably. I'm not being modest now, I'm telling the truth. And the local radio station came to me in the form of the manager and gave me a massive ego. He said, would you like to come and be a DJ on the radio? Now, W1R FM is one of Ireland's most successful commercial radio stations. It always has been. It's a hugely successful station. So to be invited to be on it, sure, I thought I was the bee's knees. I was the daddy, right? And talk about deflation of ego, Hayden, because I quickly realised that I was cheaper than a Securicor security guard. What they did was they said, do the 2 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock in the morning stint. You be on between 2 and 7. And we'll give you a playlist. And you entertain whatever, I don't know, insomniac listeners you have at that hour of the morning. I was still happy to do it, but I realised that they didn't really have any ambition for me, really. But I decided, well, I've got some ambition. I'm going to do some things on graveyard radio that are going to get me noticed, which is what I did. Yeah. And graduated then to prime time and ultimately graduated to producing the talk, the 2-hour primetime talk show in the morning, 10 to 12, the usual, the politics show. Yeah. And that's really where it all began for me then, yeah.
That's where the bug really got hold of you.
I loved it. I loved the fact that you had to fill 5 2-hour radio shows a week with a mix of politics, local and national, and entertainment, and also try and get listeners on, having their say as well, and being totally responsible for that. I realised very early on what a powerful thing that is, and that you have to respect that, because ultimately you get to decide what people hear.
Yes.
And as you well know, you make the decisions of what not to cover.
Yes.
We never think about that, do we?
No.
What if I omitted?
Yeah, why isn't
And
that
why?
in there?
Yeah.
I mean,
and-
most time, in truth, the truth is you omit things because you think,
Yeah.
just,
That's right.
boring.
Yeah. And you're asking yourself the question, you say to yourself, well, I've got political opinions. Am I leaning towards, in terms of the guests I bring on and the things I cover? And you find out that you are.
Yes, yeah, you're as
It's a
fallible as
fact.
everybody else.
Of course you are.
I mean, I've not done a ton of radio. In fact, the first radio show I did was at Fab.
That's right.
That Paul Ripley runs. Another big plug, go and watch the
great
Mancunian candidates on
Paul Ripley.
YouTube. And he said, do you want to do a radio show? I was like, yeah, all right. So he said, don't worry, I'll train you up on the desk. Invited me in.
Yeah, great guy, Paul.
He went, that's that. Right, off you go, fella. Well, you remember the big old desk that you saw at Fab?
They had the proper desk.
Yeah, the big old
the
one
proper desk,
with
yeah.
the needles going
32
like that.
channels, yeah.
Oh, but it was beautiful. But I quickly discovered that as much as I enjoy, and I love doing the trigger warning stuff, the videos, interviews, everything like that, there is something special about radio.
Yeah.
Online radio, whatever, it doesn't matter. When it's dimly lit room and it's you and the mic and you're talking, you're always up on top of it when you're doing the radio, so it's really close and you're talking in your mind to one person.
Well, you are. It's an intimate medium.
It's beautiful. It's
We don't listen to the
wonderful thing
radio
to do.
in groups. We listen on our own, don't we?
Yes.
And a million studies have shown, I know studies, people say you can get a study to prove anything, but I think we know that people absorb more information when they're listening to the radio as opposed to, I don't care how good the podcast is. I mean, you've got all bells and whistles here. I watch this every Thursday, the recent ones with Emma Kenny and Count Dankla. It is fantastic and it's compelling stuff, no doubt about it. But you are still going to absorb more of what's being said if it's radio. So there's still a
Most
radio
successful
plays a very...
advertising, radio.
That's right, 100%.
And it's still, whereas television has been problematic, radio is still.
Yeah.
Because you listen, you pay attention. Even if you're driving your car, it's no more distracting than having someone next to you.
That's right.
So the radio is your passenger. But there is something magical about doing it. I can see just from the limited amount that I've done that it's, I get it. You know, when you're on that and you're talking about something you enjoy, I've not had to do anything I'm not fussed about because it's not a career, it's something I just enjoy. There is something absolutely magical about when you sit down. If you've got notes, brilliant. If you haven't, well, you're just going to have to fill.
We'll have to fill, yeah.
And when that goes live, it's a wonderful thing, and I get it. So when I met you, it was about 7-8 years ago.
2014, I think it was.
2014, I think.
No, it wasn't.
No,
it was
before that, wasn't it?
2013.
Yeah.
Early or late 2012, early 2013, around about
So
that
how
time.
did you? Because you at that time you'd gone over to Spain to run a pub. You'd left all the radio stuff behind.
Yeah.
How did you come to suddenly end up at a TV station David Icke was trying to launch?
Well, I ended up doing radio in Spain. I went to work for a company called Talk Radio Europe. They'd fired a guy. Well, they'd fired the guy who opened it because he'd been having sex with a 16-year-old girl. He'd run some talent competitions. That was a bit of a scandal. They'd fired him. And the evening guy went to do that gig and they reached out to me and asked me would I do the evening gig. And I said, yeah, I'll do the evening gig so long as... At this stage, I was getting into reading people like David and Jim Mars's books. So I was very interested in this. And I decided, yeah, I'll do it so long as I can go down that road. They had no problem with that. So I did. And that was an interesting time. You're again, it's a radio station in Marbella. It's got all the bells and whistles. It's got a very sexy and grandiose name, Talk Radio Europe. It really broadcasts to the Costa Blanca and the Costa del Sol. Outside of that, it doesn't have many listeners. Yeah. But I knew that I would get a big online following because I knew that there would be people in the US and in the UK were listening to Alex and they were starved of other radio shows like Alex's and Jeff Rents, for example. They were doing huge numbers in America. So I just started talking to, again, people like David, and I really enjoyed that. And that's where it really began. The oft-mentioned Caroline, the bar business became very difficult in Spain then. This is after what I would say, the manufactured 2008 financial crash made it very difficult for everybody. She went back to working in accounting in Gibraltar. She's an accountant by trade. And I went back to radio after a short gap from it. And it was at that time that David Icke and his former business partner decided they would try and do a 24-hour-a-day TV channel with alternative information. And because I'd gotten to know him, he'd asked me, would I get involved? In fact, maybe there are people who don't know this. It was never meant to be television at the beginning. And this is a fatal flaw in the TPV, what led to its downfall. It was meant to be radio. It was meant to be build a couple of radio studios, use guys like me to help kind of train people up. And somehow, somewhere, I think it was in Camden Town, one weekend I'd flown in from Spain. It turned into TV, and I never liked that from the beginning, but I kept my mouth shut. I said once, listen, radio's going to be very cheap and very cost effective. It's not going to cost you very much money at all. But they were hell-bent on going large very early. Yes. They'd raised about 4,500,000, maybe £500,000, but within a few months that money was gone.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, obviously there's been scandals, but I can safely say, as an outsider with no skin in the game, you know, I'm not a friend of Davies, I'm certainly not a friend of Sean Adult.
Yeah.
quite the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I came down, I met you there.
You came to see us, yeah.
I had a chat with David for a bit and we hung out, and the operation was set up and how it was set up. When I was invited into that meeting with Sean and everything else, and they were talking about the things they were doing, I remember when we came out and I said to you, how are they funding that?
Yeah, they weren't really.
Because I know about online streaming and what it costs. And when I tried to tell Sean, he just blanked me. It's
costing a fortune,
Yeah, and someone said, how are you funding that? And I remember I quite openly said, I think it's going to struggle. This is going to be hard. Be really hard. And of course, it happened. And the accusations and everything, as if you and Davies suddenly split. Off you
well, what happened was there was a woman working there, a woman called Sonia Poulton, about the worst human being that I've ever encountered in my life. Dreadful in every sense of the word. Nobody would work with Poulton. Nobody would work with her. She's dreadful. 4 or 5 producers came and went, fell out with everybody, and in the end, she was kind of she was encouraged to kind of just go away, basically. And she did, and started making some unfounded allegations about money, you know, people spending money that they shouldn't have been spending. And, you know, I have less time for Sean Adel than you do. But what they did there, and the reason that went tits up, was because they were trying to run the best part of 15 in-house productions.
It was bad choices.
Hiring directors in, as you said, hiring producers in. These people were asking for £4,000, £5,000, £6,000 a month. There was no advertising because they didn't have any advertising. And in the end, that money disappeared very quickly. And they ran another telethon, which didn't do well, because obviously the people who contributed early on went, well, this is not going to work. Yeah. You know, it's obviously not working. So it kind of went the way it was inevitably going to go.
It was a grand endeavour. It
was a disaster. It was a grandiose idea. David Icke has no questions to answer whatsoever. It was all above board.
I saw the gear down there. I know where the money went.
It was madness.
I saw it.
It was madness. And they kept adding shows. And I kept seeing men walking around the offices and women. Who are you? Oh, I'm some BBC. Because they were getting BBC and ITV producers who are on jollies, basically. Yeah. And it ran out of money very quickly. And I ended up then basically submitting my show reel to radio stations around the world. And I had 2 offers in the end. One was from a radio station in, where was it? It was somewhere in the Middle East. It had to be Dubai, I think. Said to me, the English station in Dubai, Channel 4 in Dubai. Yeah. Said, come and work for us. And I said, no problems. Except you and Caroline can't live together unless you get married. That's what they said. And they said, you can only drink in designated places. So I said, I can't live with this fucking French bombshell that I live with. She's gorgeous, by the way. Bragging.
And obviously a saint.
And I can't have a drink. And a saint, yeah, a saint to put up with me.
Yeah.
And they said, well, you can have a drink, but you've got to get a license for it. And all that garbage.
Drinking
all this dystopian stuff. Now I think, when you think about what's going on now, it's mild what was going on in Dubai. So I turned them down. And then I never mentioned the radio station in the north of the country that offered me a job. And the reason I don't mention who they are is because I might do business with them again in the future.
You don't want to shit your chips.
No, it's a huge station. And they came to me and they offered me the breakfast show. They offered me a substantial amount of money to present it, to co-present it with a girl that I met. And she was lovely. And we would have bounced off one another. She was fabulous. And my missus and Ike said, you'll either leave that in a huff or you'll be fired.
Yeah.
Because you can't be talking about the X Factor and traffic updates and stuff like that. You'll lose your fucking mind doing that.
Yeah, of course.
And I said I would. So I thanked them and said, no, thanks. They said, look, we might do some business in the future. And that's how the Richie Allen radio show came about, as you well know, because at that stage, I didn't have a pot to piss in, but had enough to buy a mixing desk and some microphones. Yeah. You advised on the gear. You and Ripley.
I remember the call, yeah.
That's right. And before I knew it, I was sitting in front of a big iMac with a mixing desk and a boom mic. That's all I could afford, was a boom mic, a Rode boom mic. And I went live one September evening at 8 o'clock, as it was at the time, cacking it really. Not nervous about being on air, even though I still, to this day, I'm still a bit nervous every time I go on air, but cacking it that you've just turned down 50 grand a year to do a breakfast show. You can barely make your rent in Fallowfield. You're fucked, son. And then the theme song was coming on.
Yeah. Always a good way to start a show.
And you've got to smile.
Yeah.
On the radio, you've got to smile.
Yeah.
You got to smile. And I'm getting text messages from David, really encouraging ones, going, well done, son. It'll be all right in the end. And I'm like, you fucking bastard. I've not got this month's gas money. I don't mean for our American listeners or viewers. I mean, of course, British gas money. Yeah. So that's where it began. And 6 years later, it's still there, which is lovely. And I feel awkward talking about it. Yeah, it's flying, yeah.
But you see, this is the thing, though. I wanted to talk about it and how you got there, because I don't think a lot of people know or have heard the passion you talk about these things.
No.
It's easy for me. I speak to you on the phone every week or other week. I know you, but I think a lot of people that love this show, they might not know.
No, I'm very private.
Yeah, exactly.
Very private.
I mean, don't worry, I won't go digging into too
well, you can ask what you want. You've been given. You can say whatever you want.
Carte blanche, I haven't. The best thing to do when you're given that is not take the piss anyway. But I think it's cool that people know how you got there. Now, obviously, you built this radio show, built it up big, going out on Fab Radio with Paul helping out. He's always around, Paul, isn't he? He's
nicest bloke you could ever meet.
He really is genuinely a top geezer. And we started doing the television show here. And then you became the worst anti-Semite ever.
Oh, yeah, overnight,
The worst, because that Guardian article that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a question. Clearly, when you turn your mind to something, you're very good at it.
Yeah.
You are a brilliant presenter. Technically, content-wise,
very
how you put
kind.
it together.
I've learned from some good people.
You genuinely are a brilliant presenter. So you're very good when you decide to do something. But I have Jewish friends, you talk to me. I have friends in Israel, you talk to me. A Jewish accountant.
Yeah.
Why are you so shit at being an anti-Semite? Why are you the shittest
My Jewish accountant as well, yeah.
Because obviously I've bumped into people online who know that I know you, and they're like, why are you dealing
Why
with
would you deal with him, yeah.
I'm like, well, explain yourselves to
There
me.
isn't anything you can do about that, is there?
No.
I'll ask you, this is your show, I'll ask you, what can you do about it? My stance on Israel is well known to my listeners. I don't like Israel. And by Israel, I don't mean the people who live there, because I don't know them. And I'm sure there are 500,000 different types of people who live in Israel, as there are here. I've never been to the place. I wouldn't mind going there to visit the West Bank, to go to Gaza. I wouldn't mind. And I used to spend a lot of time on my Spanish radio show speaking to arch-Zionists living in the occupied territories who would argue with me. So for your friends who are listening tonight, my stance is very simple. This is where I am. I do not believe the state of Israel has any overarching or overriding right to exist, but it does. Tough shit, Paddy. I don't. I believe the treaties which gave rise to it, the Sykes-Picot Agreement and the Balfour Declaration, are illegal under international law. I am, you might say, you're incredibly one-sided on that. You see the Palestinians, you see what's happened to the Palestinians. You might say you turn a blind eye to things that are done to Jews and or to Israelis and what have you. Fair enough, you could talk about that stuff all day long. That's the beginning and the end of my alleged anti-Semitism.
Yes,
I have no time for Israel.
Well, here's
and
the
that's
thing.
it. And I know a lot of Jews. And I know a lot of Jews who have no time for Israel.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
As well.
Who cares about your opinion about a country?
Of course, it doesn't matter, yeah.
It doesn't mean a fucking thing what you, me, or anybody else thinks about an entire country. It's irrelevant. I don't give a fuck about Israel, so it's fine.
Yeah,
you know, I've been there. It's very beautiful. I'm done. That's it. You know, the Palestinians, the Israelis, the people in Saudi. You know what? Fuck it. I haven't got the headspace.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it as we do, and quite often I'll take the side opposite to
of
whatever
course,
anyone's
which is
talking
good,
to me
which
about.
is what you should do anyway.
I can't help it.
Yeah.
But I know when people have come to me going, the guy's an anti-Semite, I'm like, well, tell me why. I'm not going to name the names that I don't want to give. Some of them I don't. I mean, there's some people I like. Some of them I won't give them the fucking...
We're talking national print media journalists, some of these people.
Some of them.
Yeah.
And my own was like, well, he had Nick Collister on and said he did sterling work. I said, that's fucking disingenuous.
I did a bad job with the Nick interview anyway.
But...
wasn't a great interview.
When you said, you know, you do important work, what everyone leaves out, you were solely talking
about 7/7.
7/7.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
7/7 bombings.
Yeah.
You weren't patting Nick on the back for being a fucking Holocaust.
No, and I said
denier.
5 times in the interview that I disagreed with him. I talked about the Nuremberg.
Basically called him mental at one point.
I don't know
Was
if I
that a
called him
different
mental because I like Nick. For people watching this who have no idea, Nick Collerstrom doesn't believe that Jews are gassed. He doesn't believe that. I suppose we live in a world now where you can't, on the one hand, say, I know a guy who says that the Jews aren't gassed, and I like him. I do like him. I do like Nick Collerstrom. Nick's a very eccentric bloke. He was kicked out of his university years ago. Nick Collerstrom doesn't believe the Jews are gassed, and he blames a lot of things on Jews that I don't think he should blame on Jews, full stop. Does he do that because he hates Jews? No, he does it because he believes it. And for me, that's the be-all and the end-all of it. And when I interviewed him to challenge that stuff and to disagree with him. And I did my job up to a point. The point where I stopped doing my job was I did give him an easy ride, which later on I didn't give the same easy ride to other people. And that's where some people get annoyed. I've spoken to Jewish people I know about that, and I've said, "What
isn't the worst part about this with journalists?
Yeah.
You know as well as anyone
Yeah.
that no matter what someone believes, you can find yourself in a position where you're having a conversation, and do you know what? They're all right to talk to.
Yeah.
You know, now, I've got a friend, he's been my friend longest of anybody, but he likes hunting. I think hunting is for
You hate
Neanderthal
it. You
morons.
despise it, yeah.
I don't see the point. If you've got to do it to eat, fine, go and kill whatever you can get your hands on, including humans. I don't care. You know, kill to eat, whatever.
Zombie apocalypse.
But he's still my best friend because although I'm completely opposed to that part of his life, that's not him.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, when you drop something nasty in that Holocaust denial or massive racism, it doesn't always cover their entire character. And this isn't a guy you have at your house every week and have dinner
of
with
course
and hang
not.
out.
No.
You talk to him on a show where if you're openly aggressive, you get no interview. Like when I interviewed Tommy Robinson.
Yeah. It's the right way to do it.
I was on the phone to you, Richie, I don't know how to go about this. Do I go at him? Do I stand? In the end, you let it be. I don't agree with Tommy Robinson at all, but you know what? He's to talk to.
But your audience is not stupid.
But not just that, to talk to.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Absolutely. And I'm sure he is. Your audience isn't stupid. And we have to ask this question, I think, of ourselves. We're kind of being conditioned, or somebody or something wants to condition us to exile, ostracize, send to Coventry, whatever term you want to use, to completely get rid of people because of some opinion they might hold. And it doesn't have to be about the Holocaust or anything. It could be anything. It could be gender.
Your thoughts on lockdown, whatever it is.
That's right. And this thing about racism, you know, we live amongst people that, apart from something they might believe, which we might find profoundly obnoxious, we might do, we might not do, they are pretty useful and pretty decent people most of the time. And I keep banging on about this. You know, I've written to the Jewish Chronicle and I've written to the Jerusalem Post, have criticised me in the past. I've written very nice emails asking them to, you know, debate this. What do you want to do with people who say that it's a big lie that Jews were rounded up and interned and murdered in Germany. What do you want to do with them? Do you want to end their lives? Do you want to make it impossible for them to earn a living? You can't do that.
That's not going to make them love Jews either.
Well, it isn't, is it? No, you've got to accept that these opinions are out there.
Also, when you get a guy who, let's say, has that opinion, but otherwise he doesn't go out and spit on Jewish people, you know.
He's not vandalising graves.
If you ostracize these people.
Yeah.
You turn them into those other people.
Of course you do.
Because the other guys are waiting there with their arms open going, did they call you that? That's so unfair.
That's right.
And that counts for a lot of stuff. They're monsters. Come here.
That's right.
And that's exactly what you do. And you know I'm a firm believer, you know, despite the fact I haven't been able to carry the promise through on every platform because life happens, any voice should be heard.
Absolutely.
No matter how horrific the opinion, hear it,
listen to it,
challenge it,
argue with it,
and let your listeners, because we've got to get away from this idea that there are, everyone that listens to something is thick. They're not. It's disgusting way to treat it. It's what TV does.
Yeah.
You know, in our world, we have to talk to people as if I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Talking to Graham.
Well, they're going to give an award to Piers Morgan over the Christmas. They're going to acclaim him as the bastion of news, television, interviewing. Piers Morgan. This is not Sarah Grapes. It isn't jealousy. I walked away from all of that. I could have had that. Piers Morgan is about the worst interrogator of a guest there's ever been on national television. It's dreadful.
Didn't he say he'd queue up for the vaccine? Like, I hope he gets the Bell's palsy.
The same guy who was on Larry King's programme some years ago, on his own programme, when he was hosting after Larry King moved on, when he acknowledged that he was dying of the flu just after he got the vaccine. So he's got no humility. But even though some of the people Morgan appears to be tearing into are odious in the extreme, politicians, it's dreadful, it's crap, and it's just an old idea.
He's a brainless version of Jeremy Paxman.
Isn't it? Brainless version. It's Bill O'Reilly again.
But he knows entertainment. It is very much Bill O'Reilly.
It's Bill O'Reilly.
When Paxman went after you, whatever your thoughts on Jeremy Paxman,
you got room to answer.
But also he was a couple of steps. You know, he knew if it goes that way or that way.
You got room to
worked
answer.
out.
Yeah.
Piers Morgan grandstands.
It's all about me. Me. You find that as well. Do you know where you find that? This will piss off a lot of people watching this. You'll find this in the independent media. It's rampant.
Oh, yes.
Guests become props to elevate the interviewer, the host, in the eyes of the audience. You see this all the time. It astonishes me. And for me, it's a big barrier, ultimately, to drawing in the on-the-fence people. I want people on the fence to listen to some of my guests about things like COVID. I want them to just listen. The guest is a star. The information is a star, not the presenter. But you summed Morgan up beautifully, and people like Morgan. You got James O'Brien doing the same thing on LBC, shouting at people and interrupting them. And it's rubbish. It's rubbish broadcasting.
Yeah. We know when I stopped doing interviews. Got Newsnight when they brought that weird yellowy sort of guy. Yeah. That's not a racial thing. He was just, I think he had the jaundice.
Yeah, jaundice, yeah. He might have done, scarlet fever. Yellow fever.
They brought him on to get me.
Fever. Yeah.
That's all. Because they underestimated me a little bit. You know,
the beheading man at the time.
Yeah, the beheading man. Enthusiast. The beheading enthusiast.
The beheading enthusiast, that's the one.
But yeah, they
you better explain that. Live Leak used to have.
Yeah, basically, because I was involved with Ogrish and Live Leak, there will always be people, especially if you disagree with them. And I get it now over the debates. The shit storms I cause on Twitter. They go, you've got no morals. You did Live Leak. What was the last one I go? Because of you, ISIS carry on. Like, they didn't make fucking videos for me.
For you.
You know? Oh, what will Hayden like this week? Oh, we'll like that. That shit just comes through.
Let's bring some innocence to an abattoir. Hayden, I love that.
Let's hang up and kill him. So I became, you just love it. It's like, so I started telling people, it's the only way I can sexually function if I watch it.
You started believing it.
It's what gives me the wood.
Yeah.
Because fuck them. Why not, But
you traumatized me. I was in Manchester in 2004, and my sister Debbie and her then boyfriend Derek came over to watch United. And we were messing around we had our desktop computer like everybody did in the living room.
Yeah.
And I was looking for some information on somebody like Ken Bigley or somebody like that. God
that
love
would have
him.
been back in the Ogrish days, yeah.
And I came upon it.
Yeah.
It's bad stuff. But I absolutely endorse to this day your right to publish that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the weird thing. I'm not an enthusiast. I don't sit around watching beheadings.
Getting enjoyment out of it.
Even just non-enjoyment. It's not something I tend to do a great deal because it's just not something I do.
I spent 6 months in therapy.
But everyone's got their own reasons for doing things.
Yeah.
Young people, it's whistling past the cemetery. I find as the older I get, the more difficult it is to watch that stuff because you start empathising far more.
Yeah.
And you start thinking, how can you do that? How can you dehumanise someone to the point where you can slaughter them?
Yeah.
So it gets harder for me as I get older.
Yeah.
Everyone says it desensitises you. The other way for me.
Yeah.
But an adult should be able to decide to watch it. Whatever reason, I don't ask. You know, they always say, why do they watch it? Is it because they're sick? Is it? I don't ask.
Yeah, the vast majority of people wouldn't have watched it because they're sick. They would have happened upon it, or they want to know. Yeah. You see, as even back then as a journalist, I want to know, are people doing these things to people? I want to know. Daniel Pearl. I might be getting it wrong. It might not have been Bigley. More than likely it was Daniel Pearl. I can't remember.
Pearl. Oh God, I'm going to sound like I'm a beheading enthusiast. That was the first one that really came out.
It
didn't show much.
No.
You just saw basically he was
lying
there,
stuff,
and then there was a bit of a knife, and that was it.
Yeah.
Ken Bigley's was very similar. You didn't see what happened to Ken Bigley, but some of the American guys,
some of the contractors and stuff.
Yeah, and it's just got worse. I think it's mostly Mexicans now.
Yeah,
they're doing
unspeakable,
terrible things to each other over there.
Unimaginable things, really.
Yeah, and the only times I've seen those are times when, not so much now because Lively doesn't show so much of that. But you get a moderator going, I can't watch this, but you have a look.
Hey, before I forget, by the way, to go back to the anti-Semitism thing, because before I forget to say this, I think one of the reasons, I tried to get involved with Stephen Pollard, but he wouldn't have anything to do with me. I tried to speak to him privately. I think one of the things that, the real bee in their bonnet was putting people on the air. That was their problem.
Yeah, platforming, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
By putting them on the air, you must like what they're saying, otherwise you wouldn't do it. Now, I'm an old school producer and presenter. I can't do a radio show every day of the week, and I know you can't do these podcasts if you're sitting with somebody whom you see the world exactly the same as they do. Nothing could be more annoying or more boring than that. So I think the Wikipedia page says Allen seeks out people on the right more often because it's more interesting. Well, that's true. Yeah, that's. Well, I don't know how it's phrased, but something along those lines. It is true. Like I put some of them on, Lana, Lochtef, and some of these people, not because I want to look at them like I'm looking at ants under a magnifying glass. No, because I know they're intelligent.
Yeah, but how do you tick? What do you think?
Why do you think that? Where did you get to that? I interviewed a guy. Do you remember that guy who did really well in the California primary? The guy who believes that the Jews have an evil gene.
Yes.
I brought him on.
Yes.
That's fantastic. He believes.
It's great. It's great content.
It's great content. I'm obviously I'm not bringing him on to go all Piers Morgan and the grandstand and show how much I'm a defender of the Jews. No, but you want to know, where did you get to that point in your life? You're obviously very articulate. You can read, you can write. You've got a university degree.
Where the fuck did you come up with the evil gene from?
And he did his best to convince me.
Yeah, of course. But isn't that the part of it that you're not letting them on your show and letting them
run
advertise?
riot?
You're not letting them advocate violence or hatred because you wouldn't.
Don't agree.
And if they tried, that's when you do steamroller people because it's what you do. Because any guest that does, again, I'm going there if they hand you the knife and show you the throat, and that's life. But if we don't know about these people, how do we understand these people? I get it. Why don't you get a trans activist though to argue you? Tried.
Done your level best.
They won't talk to me.
We both have.
They won't talk to me.
Won't come on, no.
Because apparently you'll record it and edit it, and it's like, we don't even edit our own shows.
Yeah.
Why would I do that to you? And also, I hate to break it to you, it's live. There's not a lot I can do. There's no magic. But so far, we've struggled because I think they think they're just going to get lambasted. So I send them. We held a debate between Sarah Phillimore, who was a guest.
Yeah, it was very good. And
the trans activist, and I showed that I take myself out.
Yeah.
Completely.
You're just there to make sure equal time.
I will do that in a chat with you.
No matter how much you email, no matter how many times you say, I swear to God, I'm going to be a gentleman. When I finish saying what I'm saying, I will let you say whatever you want. I've had it out with some of these the likes of Stephen Pollard and these people, the campaign against anti-Semitism. Now, I loathe and detest the campaign against anti-Semitism for very good reasons. This Gideon Falter guy, this charity that shouldn't be a charity, I despise them. But again, I said to these people, listen, I'll give you all the time in the world. It doesn't matter how much you promise them. And then you know that they're dodgy because you say to them, listen, if you come on my radio show and I go off like Pete Tong, if I go all Piers Morgan, I'm going to look like a fucking arsehole. And you then go and get to make a video. Look at this fucking skin-headed, racist Nazi bastard. But so they're not coming on. You talked there about the trans activists. A few weeks back, gentleman reluctantly came on to speak to me. A black gentleman, former police officer, who blew the whistle on genuinely shitty, racist things that were happening when he was a police officer. I totally believed him. And he came on, and it was an interesting interview, but afterwards he was properly cheesed off, and a lot of his followers were really cheesed off, a lot of his black followers, because we brought it to the modern day, and he was telling me about racist things, and I was saying, well, no, those things could be interpreted differently. A lot of people got cheesed off because I'm supposed to accept, so if they say it's racist, well, it must be. Now, this is a whole other area now that you're starting to get into. Well, not starting, you've been getting into this for a long time. This thing where if I believe something and I tell you, you have to accept it.
You have to accept my lived experience.
That's right. And I'm saying, well, no. And I kept challenging this guy about some of these things that were supposed to be racist. And I said, they're not racist. I don't believe they are necessarily. And I don't believe that the UK is institutionally racist. I don't believe it is. And I must send the usual text, send the usual email to say thanks very much for coming on and all of that. Not impressed. And I'm like, wow, if you can't stand up to the most gentlest of scrutiny, and that's we're moving there, and this is going to become more and more visible. This you're going to see it in the mainstream media. You're going to see presenters who won't go anywhere near it. John Barnes was left. John Barnes, the ex-Liverpool footballer, genius footballer, for some reason didn't do it on the international stage. Maybe he did, John. John was absolutely amazing, playing for Liverpool. Christ, what a footballer. And John was saying a couple of football teams walked off the pitch the other night in Paris. Apparently the Romanian fourth official used the word negru, which is perfectly acceptable. He called over the referee because he was getting abused by the Turkish team's coaching staff. And they're all white, except for one bloke who's black. So when the referee came over, he said, the referee said, who is it? And he said, the negru. It's the black guy basically been abusing me. Everybody walked off the pitch. They're still saying that this is racism, even though it wasn't. And it's left to John Barnes to go, will somebody just say that this isn't racist?
Yeah, will somebody just put a pin in
Mother
this
of
shit?
God, this is where we are. How dangerous is this?
We're in a bizarre place where people's feelings are more important than reality.
Guy might lose his job now, this guy.
Oh, absolutely.
For not being a racist.
Yeah, I'm not getting onto the whole topic, but not racism, but with the Kira Bell case, we now have to have Gillick competency for children to be medicalised. Now, when it's experimental in nature, which it is, they say, well, it's been used for 30 years. That's for precocious puberty, and for people with prostate cancer. And also, the creator of the drug was sued royally for that drug.
Big time,
Lupron, massively. But I believe, I've had debates with people where I've said, well, because they're going, it's reversible, it's harmless, you'll just transfer. I'm like, well, why didn't anyone give that to the court? Because, if you put compelling evidence in front of me that it's reversible, why would I say it's...
Why would you say it isn't, yeah?
I would have to agree with you.
Because it isn't reversible.
But it's feelings. Feelings are more important than kids.
Yeah.
Ideology is more important than anything, whether it's religion, racism, the fucking potty gender wars, whatever it is, ideology is more important than anything else. And we see it, I believe, in the alternative media. It's all me, personality, me. And that's fine, but it depends what you're trying to sell. When we do trigger warning, I don't tell people you've got to listen to me. I don't tell people I've got the truth. It's just my fucking opinion.
Yeah, it's an opinion, yeah. It's
That's
a stream
what
of
it
consciousness, ultimately.
Yeah, and you take a lot of factual information that's researched. You have opinion stuff on as well, but you never say you have to believe this.
Not at all.
In all the years I've known you, we've disagreed on many, many things, like chemtrails, for example.
Yeah.
We disagree. But never once have you said to me, well, I'm not fucking bothering with you if you don't agree with me.
Yeah.
Or you're a fucking idiot.
It's becoming a condition of business now, almost. It's becoming a condition of partnership, a condition of friendship, that you have to agree on these things.
Wouldn't that make our phone calls really dull?
Very dull. But what it's done, I think, is, and this has been happening over a period of years, I think, if you want to just jump into COVID for a minute, it's very simplistic what I'm going to say, but I think it's partly now to blame for the reason that people can't really come together and kick these governments into touch and get rid of them, all of them, and say, no, actually tomorrow I'm opening my fucking business. Tomorrow I'm taking my gran out of that care home and I'm bringing her to the park. I'm wrapping her up well. I'm going to give her some vitamin D or whatever. I'm going to give her some vitamin C. It's that separation of people. And I believe there's evidence that this was planned over decades and decades and decades, divide, conquer, in about 500 different ways. Obviously, the early ways were race and religion.
And critical theory.
Critical theory, you talk about critical theory.
It goes through everything.
That's right. And this is where we are.
I can't say about COVID being manufactured or not. I've not seen compelling evidence.
Well, I don't know if it was or not.
Well, that's the thing. That's where I stand. You know how I stand when I piss off all your listeners when I talk about 9/11.
Yeah.
I only know what I know.
Yeah. And by the way, it doesn't matter whether COVID-19 is a real and new mutation of previous coronavirus. It matters not. The irrefutable facts about coronavirus is that it is absolutely not 100% not worse than seasonal flu. It isn't.
Well,
we know this, right?
Deaths without comorbidity, as best we can guess.
They're down to even less than 1,000, right?
Well, it's about 700.
Yeah. Right.
A lot more people died in 2019 of diabetes.
That's right.
I don't think we're going to lock the country down so we don't kill Granny.
No, so at some stage, people begin to wonder what's really going on. And again, we're back to the barrier. The barrier to moving forward is you get, in the independent media, you get competing ideas and competing ideologies, where you have hundreds and hundreds of people, some of them with big, big followings, some of them with not, all saying, well, it's my way or the highway. This is what's really going on. And it's insane. And ultimately, you just get inertia. Nobody does anything, and it just rolls on, you know?
If you just roll out an idea, I think maybe it's this, I think maybe it's that. The first thing you're going to deal with is not a debate, it's abuse. That's the first thing you're attacked. And that's where we are now. We've, you know, my thoughts on how social media has engineered society. And we can disagree about why and where, but it has.
Well, it has now,
It has, because those algorithms...
It's kettled everybody.
You know, there could be reasons for you, say, or business reasons where I see it, the way I see it, is these algorithms are created to just keep them engaged, let them be mildly annoyed, not too annoyed, because they're incredibly sophisticated, but it's backfired. For us, not for them. Still works very well for them. But it keeps you in these bubbles of complacency.
Yeah.
Where there's just enough information coming in to annoy you, but there's enough affirmation that all you have to do is attack. And we're seeing this now going across our entire society, where without agreement, there's attack. Nobody can just sit down and have a fucking chat.
No, of course not.
You know? Why can't you? I mean, I said the other day, the phrase I hate is agree to disagree. Well, fuck that. I want to disagree.
Just disagree,
I want to disagree, and like we do sometimes, and sometimes we raise our voices, and we, you know, I'm pacing in my kitchen, you're pacing in yours. But at the end of it, it don't fucking matter.
No,
because we just had a good chat.
No, well, ultimately we conclude, regardless, these things are happening. Tyranny reigns on planet Earth at the moment. It's getting worse. Some of the things that have happened in recent days. You have the MHRA, Dr. June Rain, the woman supposedly tasked with making sure that the Pfizer and BioNTech, well, it's the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines are safe, admits in front of a parliamentary committee yesterday that what do you do basically at the MHRA? Answer should be, we work day and night to make sure that medicines coming into our country don't kill people. Her answer was, we enable access. Black and white. And in the future, in the very near future, we're moving to a new preventative type of medicine. And preventative type of medicine means, and they've said this before, lots and lots and lots and lots of vaccines for everybody every year.
Isn't the thing with this
everything
vaccine,
you can think of.
Number one, how the government have handled this makes it, aside from everything else, makes it the most fertile ground for conspiracies.
The
way conflicting information, scientists clearly being told to change their mind, about fundamentals, not because new information's come out, about fundamentals. And I can see very clearly how if you want to connect these dots, it's never been easier. If you, wherever you want it to go, no problem. Must be a great time for some of the bigger guys, because you can just make hay while the sun shines right now. And I do believe some of them take advantage of people equally as much as the government and the other people do. It's no less emotionally bruising. But we're not even stumbling into totalitarianism. This is what scares me. We're begging for it.
Or sprinting for it.
They've
sprinting for the line, people,
managed to a point where people are informing on their fucking friends and neighbours for not following guidelines. Where the Greater Manchester Police tweet saying, we've just given someone a £10,000 fine because 30 people were in that restaurant. They were having a dinner. Aren't we good?
West Midlands Police yesterday, or last night, bragging about using cutting tools to cut into a local football club's clubhouse because there were some lads in there having a few beers.
Having a lock-in.
Bragging about it.
The worst part is, isn't it? That report came out about the Greater Manchester Police. I don't have it with me, but something like 1 in 4 violent crimes are not recorded.
Not recorded.
But they can, and they'll say, well, it's pressures and, we're getting the funding cut. It's like, no, I get it. That must be really bad. But how are you finding it to do non-crime hate incidents? How are you finding it to chase
garden parties?
For garden parties. How are you finding the money for that? How can you go and knock on someone's door because of some shit they've said on Twitter? But we're not going to take
Both of us have interviewed people who've been have had their door knocked in, or not knocked in, but they've had their door knocked on because they've said you're not a woman, you're a man.
Kate Scotlow.
Yeah,
they took a PC, kept her in a cell.
Imagine that.
Shocking. Today, she won her appeal. So it's not the case of right, it's all over now. They've wiped it. It's been expunged. Yeah. It was a non-crime.
But it'll happen again, though. You see, this is the problem. It doesn't matter. It'll happen again anyway. I go back to the tyranny thing. I've been watching it with great interest the last few days. They're desperately keen for everybody to have the vaccine, which might be very dangerous. It might be. The swine flu vaccine was incredibly dangerous. This one might be very dangerous. I'm going to put my neck out and say I think it will be very dangerous. I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. But I don't know that to be true. That's conjecture. It's amazing. They try and dismiss conspiracy theories about Bill Gates by telling a massive lie. They lie and they say, I've heard James O'Brien do it. I've heard Kay Burley do it. We won't be hearing Kay for 6 months.
Yeah, she's been a naughty girl.
Love Kay. But what they do is, she's fantastic. What they do is they say, oh, we're fed up with these crazy conspiracy theories like Bill Gates on the microchip, everybody. Wow.
Can I just say, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
When Richie says Kay is
Kay,
brilliant,
Kay
he
Burley.
means it because every time Kay Burley opens a fucking mouth, he knows he's just done 20
I'm
minutes
recording
of his show. He's just done 20 minutes, no problem.
You go to jail for what I've done to Kay Burley. I stalked her all over the fucking internet for years. Kay's felt a presence sometimes. It's me. I learned. I used to interview people like General Bert Stubblebine. They made the film The Men Who Stare at Goats about him. Yes. Lovely gentleman. Very, very... very
grounded.
Very senile. Not senile, Jesus Christ. No, I don't mean senile. I meant eccentric. If Bert's wife, if his widow was watching, she'd kill me. Rima Lebo, another lovely woman, an MD. Very eccentric, Bert. But Bert used to talk about stuff like that, about remote viewing and stuff like that. So I used to look in on Kay. She must have felt it. But yeah, they say things like crazy conspiracy theories like Gates and the microchips. The fact is, the conspiracy theory that people like me have been listening to, because I'm a nobody, these are not my theories. I listen to learned men and women who've looked into this. The conspiracy theory about Gates is true. Gates Gates is almost exclusively responsible for the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine coming to market. It's Bill Gates, basically.
Right.
It's Bill Gates' money in Gavi, in CEPI, in about 500 different vaccine alliance groups. It's Bill Gates' money in Imperial College London. It's Bill Gates' money at the Oxford University. It's Bill Gates' money at the MHRA, which is supposed to be independent. And Bill Gates funds the World Health Organization to the tune of more money than any other independent country. This is Gates' story, this. And that's what people like my guests want to talk about. But the media covers, it's like having a big fucking fart in a room where there are lots of farts, where there are lots of people going, they're farting like this, going, hey, Gates has done this, Gates has done that. I'll tell you how we'll cover all of those farts. We'll just pick out some people who talk about Gates and microchipping, and that will just muddy the waters completely. Gates is everywhere. The guy's a eugenicist. I know the clip of him saying Africa vaccines. I know it's often used out of context, but the guy wants to see the world depopulated, as do many prominent royal family members and others. And there is a big story there that the mainstream media is totally ignoring. It is Bill Gates' agenda, the agenda to vaccinate everybody on planet Earth regularly for the good of our own health. It's pretty much Bill Gates.
Let's be fair, even if you were in the mainstream media and you fancied it, how far are you going to get?
I'm not going to get very far. He funds the BBC. Now look, that's a disingenuous thing to say. Saying he funds the BBC might give rise to a critic of mine saying you're an exaggerating bold bastard. Yes, obviously the BBC is funded by licence payer money, but he spends money with them. Yeah, a lot of fucking money.
There's a lot of production companies involved in that.
That's right, and the European Union. Gates gives money to the European Union. Every academic institution, every major one in every Western country.
Touched it.
Yeah,
much like you with Kay Burley. He's with everything else.
Everything else, right? And it's his belief that healthcare in the future should be basically revolving around preventative health. Yes. Where's he getting all this from? This is the bastard of the antitrust trials in the US in the 1980s. This is an evil fucking bastard. Evil by every measurement. And he's determined to use his money. And some journalists have actually taken him on. If you use a search engine, you'll find Telegraph, Guardian articles, not recently, but say 5-6 years ago, asking, this guy is circumnavigating governments through philanthropy, through alleged charity. He's an evil bastard. And nobody wants to talk about it. And the way to cover the fact that it's out there so much that you've got to say something is say, crazy conspiracy theories about him putting microchips in vaccines. No, fuck that. We could talk about that some other time. Let's talk about what he is doing. And that's where we are.
I think nanobots came up when I spoke with Emma Kelly. I don't believe she believes in nanobots. I'm not sure. But I think who muddies the water just as much is, again, the alternative media.
No doubt about it.
Because one lecture meet's got nanobots in the vaccine. I said, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
How do you know about technology?
Yeah.
Because it's not a matter of they've got it and they've hidden it from us.
No, the prototypes are there, right?
I mean, the most you could look at with nanobots, and I see no reason to disbelieve this, is you could have a tiny machine with one program, with one function.
Is that where they are now, you think?
I think that's where the work.
But they wouldn't tell us where they are, would they?
No, I mean, no,
they have.
Scientists have been quite open that we built it. I mean, because if you think about, if we take out the evil side, the idea, and I think I'll put this to Emma as well, if in the future, if they said, right, we're going to put you've got cancer, stage 4, now it'd be chemo, all this other stuff. If they said, look, these things are going to go in, they'll just go for that tumour, and, we can do 2 programs on them. So they'll go for that tumour, they'll kill that, and on the way back, they'll scrape out your arteries.
Sounds brilliant, doesn't it?
See, that's what we want.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah, in an ideal world, that sounds wonderfully benevolent and beautiful. Yeah, fantastic. But no, the transhumanist agenda, and I know you've got some sympathy with the transhumanist agenda. There are very powerful billionaires. They're not bankers. They're not fucking Jews either. They're not Irish. They're not fucking English. There are very, very powerful people who have long wanted to basically turn us into some fucking hybrid between machines.
It's that dream of eternal life.
That's right.
And
they're very influential, these people.
I mean, a lot of things they work towards. I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? For all we talk about this, if they said, we've discovered a way, stem cells and nanobots, whatever, if you snap your spine, we can fix it.
We can help you walk again, yeah. If Christopher Reeve was alive and somebody said, we can do,
I'd have it tomorrow.
Put some chips there, of course.
Yeah, if they, anything like that, you'd go for it.
That's how it's sold, isn't it?
And I think even
the nefarious stuff is not.
Well, what you have to remember is that
the surveillance for a start.
But even if you move away from our governments, because surveillance is a given.
Yeah. I know, but this is the argument that they always say, don't they? You're worried about Bill Gates and the fucking microchips, and at the same time you're carrying this.
We're going to accept it.
Yeah.
As a people, we're just going to go, well, whatever. Because if someone says it's fixed your spine or got rid of your cancer, or you think, well, you know what? You look where I am. I don't care. I'm being listened to by my Google Home. I carry a phone around me. I don't turn that shit off. I don't go anywhere. But it's your choice at least. When it's not your choice, it gets scary. When you can't take the Google Home out of your house.
Yeah.
When you can't go, I'll turn all the shit off on that, thanks.
And do you I don't know how you see this. I do obviously watch it, so but it's a subject you don't get into too much. It's becoming ever more apparent that what I consider to be the fake climate crisis, because I believe it to be fake, I believe that for decades, again, due to government inactivity because of lobby power, we're a dirty shower of bastards. There's no two ways about it. I mean, whatever about Sky News and its evil fucking owner, Rupert Murdoch, and his evil kids. The series on the plastic in the oceans was brilliant. Brilliant, probably as well. It was a bit sinister as well in terms of where they wanted to go. But yeah, we're dirty. But I don't believe there is or there ever has been any evidence that our activity is leading to the warming of the planet. I don't believe it. Now we're seeing this on steroids again. I believe this lockdown agenda, this personalise or privatise, not privatise, excuse me, this move to preventative medicine, where we'll be told that we have to do things for the good of other people. We're going to be told that a lot.
And the WEF stuff as
That's
well.
right. I think the climate stuff is married to it. You touched on it there. Smart homes, your fridge, your fucking oven, basically spying on you. And social crediting. I'll give you I always give you credit, but I'll give you a lot of credit. I know that there will be some of my listeners watching this tonight, and while they know who you are, they might not know this. This social credit, I should look at this camera here. This social credit and stuff that we're talking about openly now, a few years ago, before anybody was talking about it, Hayden Hewitt was talking about it, and you said brilliantly, it was a brilliantly shrewd observation at the time, you said the fucking private sector is going to drive it.
Yeah.
How right you were.
In the Far East, it's the government. Here, it'll be private.
It'll be private.
I was sure of it, and then a couple of years
You're
later,
bang
I saw
on the
that
money.
Company.
Yeah. What's his name? Nadeem Zahawi, the Minister for Vaccines. What a fucking dickhead, right? He said it. He said, leave it. Well, he more or less said, leave it up to the pubs, the clubs, the highways, the byways, the private tour operators. You ain't getting in if you ain't got the fucking vax. That's where we're going.
But someone's just come out now, haven't they? Something to do with that department going, oh no, we can't have that. I don't know if he went off piece. I wish I'd saved it for you.
Yeah.
He came out and went, oh no, we can't do any of that. That's not what we do.
Yeah. I believe him.
I imagine he'll get kicked to the fucking curb.
Yeah, or just told to shut up.
Yeah.
Like the greatest.
Why would a government relinquish control? Why would a government relinquish control?
We talked about fucking Piers Morgan earlier on. There was the greatest missed opportunity of all time this week. Morgan, for some reason, only known to Morgan, I'd kill to be inside his head for 30 seconds. Morgan started going after Michael Gove about not taking the scientific advice back in March. I don't know why Morgan did that, because it was counterproductive to the ITV narrative. Morgan said, Patrick Vallance was saying that we should try and get natural herd immunity, which he was.
Yes.
And he fucking buried Gove on it and kept going after him. I thought, yes. The penny's dropping. Lockdowns are ridiculous. We have forever allowed bulky, big fucking strong guys like us, young men and women, to get sick because fuck it. They're going to get sick for a few days. Yeah. They're going to be okay. Antibodies, herd immunity.
And some will die.
Well, they will. It's inevitable.
That's life.
That's life, isn't it?
That's how it
That's
works.
right. But he didn't. I don't know why Morgan went down that road. But again,
he must have had a little moment.
This is it. Where a little guilt trip. Yeah. I'll do my job for fucking 20 seconds. But you talk about them changing their minds and rolling back. All of that information is now available for Joe Public. But yet Joe Public, as you pointed out a moment ago, seems to be demanding more of it.
People are
Knock
afraid.
the fucking bejesus out of us.
What's the latest figures that have been released? Do you think lockdown's going to kill 200,000 people?
Neil Ferguson. But it wasn't Ferguson this time.
Lockdown.
No, lockdown. Oh, lockdown, yeah.
Lockdown.
Minimum.
It started coming out because the Office of National Statistics have come out with figures that the government and the scientists aren't happy about.
Yeah.
Because they've gone, oh, no, it's that, mate. No, it's definitely, no, we're the Office of National Statistics. We're telling you it's that. And they reckon at the moment, 200,000.
As opposed to what, 60,000 alleged COVID deaths, but we don't believe 60,000 anyway.
There's another study coming out soon.
Go on, it's going to be worse.
It's going to be worse. And we know it's going to be worse.
Of course it is.
The fact is, COVID, it's a virus. It's bad. I do know people that have had it. Some have suffered more than
I might have
others.
had it myself, yeah.
Yeah, some have suffered. Well, when you
Whatever
you
it was.
got really
I was
ill.
fucked, yeah, properly fucked.
I remember I was genuinely worried.
Yeah.
Trying to get hold of you and it's like, can't breathe.
Gone, I was
can't
gone,
talk.
yeah, I was gone, yeah. I gave up on life, to be honest. I was that fucked,
But
yeah.
some people have passed away and it does kill and it is dangerous. But, and I've been saying this since lockdown 1 week. We have, when we were doing shows every night, that first when they said 2 weeks. Now, when you first hear that, you're looking at what's going on, you think, do you know what? We don't know what we're dealing with here yet. That might not be a bad idea.
I know,
just calm
but
the
there were
tits.
guys like me saying they're a bunch of lying bastards.
But on the phone, I said they're never going to let it go.
Never.
It's not gonna-
No.
So it went
Take
through.
liberties to give them back? Fuck no. Irish lawyer called Fionnuala Ní Éileán. She said it day one on Dermot Murnahan's show on Sky News in March. Fionnuala Ní Éileán said, she's from the west of Ireland, very bright lady, very, very articulate. She said, to me, because they brought in all these restrictions. Sorry to cut across you, by the way.
No,
they brought in all these restrictions. She said, to me, it looked like they were in a drawer. Yeah. That's what she said. It was in a drawer. They were just waiting. And they couldn't get her off Sky News quick enough. It's human rights lawyer, you know what I mean? Get her off.
Rid.
They're in the gallery. Get her off, Dermot.
When I talk to people about this online, obviously, the first thing they call me an anti-vaxxer. I say, you're sorely mistaken. But I am a realist, and I do believe in opportunism and them grabbing it and running with it. At the very least, I believe in that. And what we're going to be looking at is, I mean, we've already seen news stories came out. People were told they had COVID, but it was lung cancer.
Yeah.
A lot more people are going to be stage 4 now because they've not been getting the treatment. A lot more.
Yeah, God knows how many more, yeah. But you said there's a study coming out real soon, which might try and put a number on that.
Even at 200,000, it's bad. If that goes up to 300,000, 400,000, we're nearly at 500,000 fucking
as
people
opposed to 60,000.
who have died for what? Because out of those 60,000, what did they die of? We know that without comorbidity, it's estimated by the Office of National... not me just pulling things out my arse.
Yeah.
And, saying the fucking the aliens gave it to me, whatever. Fact, less than 1,000 people, that's where we are now.
That's right. You didn't even mention the PCR testing.
Yeah, we've not even
which is
got
not
there
fundamentally flawed. It is completely fucking redundant, that
it's
PCR
not made for
test.
that purpose.
No, of course not.
It never has been.
It's too sensitive. So
Well, we have way too many cycles, don't we?
This is it. And you can acknowledge this because it's important. The people who told me that on my radio show, they're some of the most important people in the world. You're talking about Martin Kulldorff from Harvard University, told me that on my radio show. Sucharit Bhakti from fucking Germany told me that on my program. The test is fucking ridiculous. So many of those that died of, they had COVID with a comorbidity, might not have had fucking COVID at all.
No.
This is the thing.
Remnants of a flu.
Richard Tice is kicking off about this, but nobody listened to him.
No,
The Brexit
of course
Party
not.
chairman, yeah.
But
Because he's a racist too, apparently. I heard you're a racist, Richard.
He did say that people who work from home should be taxed more.
He did that fucker,
And
didn't
I was
he?
like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I'm already using my heat.
Yeah.
Got my kid running around me. I got the dogs fucking barking. You want more money off me?
You can claim
dickhead?
for that.
But it's when he said,
You can claim for the dogs barking.
we've got to look after the city. I don't.
Yeah. The city.
Fuck
Don't even go
London.
down that road.
The city of London.
That's a rabbit. Let's not go down the city of
Because
London.
people think he meant London.
The
He
Crown
said the
Corporation.
city
Don't
of
get
London.
fucking started.
I'm not looking after them.
Yeah.
That's not my problem.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Fuck them.
Jesus Christ almighty.
I feel sorry for the guy that works at Starbucks on the main road there that might have to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
But you know what, mate? Your life wasn't going great there. Go and do something better.
You and me talked about this. They are rendering millions of people unemployed, but at the same time, they are rendering millions of them unemployable. There is nothing for them to fucking do.
Look at this. With
what are they going to
lockdowns.
do?
I've seen people grow many tears laying people off.
Oh, horrendous.
Because I'm around who I'm around here, I see the problems people have faced. Some people have taken it head on, repurposed, and they're doing okay. But do you know who's been doing great? Amazon.
Of course.
Tesco.
Bezos.
All these,
Yeah.
they're absolutely doing great.
Tesco gave back their fucking furlough money, didn't they? They're
did.
swimming in it.
But, Tesco.
They didn't give it back out of the goodness of their heart.
No.
It's a fucking virtue signaling decision that for advertising.
I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the reasoning was.
Fucking Tesco.
It had to go back. But the fact is, these big companies, why is it safer for me to go to the meat section of Tesco's but not to my butcher?
Not down to your local butcher.
Well, your butcher's smaller. My butcher also doesn't have 200 people at a time in the butcher shop.
No, he doesn't, no.
In fact, so much so that he's shut now. But, why is it safer? And you know what I'm like? I just want an answer.
Yeah, give me an answer,
Just an answer.
Yeah.
Even if I don't like it, give me an answer.
The answer they give you is the answer we discussed a moment ago. The answer they give you is, just another wacky conspiracy theorist, which are Bill Gates and microchips. No, I know that if COVID exists, and it might do, although it's true, it hasn't been isolated, this fucking virus. Nobody wants to talk about that. Some of the guys I've had on have said that.
What was he said? China sent the gene out on the beginning of January. Now, this is the narrative.
I know, you're right,
and in less than a month.
The fucking Chinese.
Now, someone told me, well, they've got the base vaccine, right? They just had to alter it a bit. I'm like, but this vaccine's never been used.
That sounded incredibly xenophobic, that, didn't it? The fucking Chinese.
It was the
fucking
Chinese.
No, but what I mean by the fucking Chinese is they're not a shining example of making information available, are they? That's what I mean by the fucking Chinese.
The UK were telling me we should lock down like them. What, brick people into their apartments? He went, that didn't happen, you racist prick. I said, I didn't say what colour any of them were. No, they were bricking people. They were sealing people into their fucking houses. Of course it's not spreading. They can't get out of the house.
Let's not get into Rohingya Muslims. Let's not start that.
Oh, no, that's despicable.
Oh, well, hey, listen, Emmanuel Macron is about to say, I'll see your abuse of the Rohingya Muslims and I'll fucking raise you. Macron is about to introduce, he's not about to, it's going to pass too. And my other half being French, following this really closely. It's going to become illegal to homeschool in France. Illegal for everybody. Why? Well, because of some jihadism.
Isn't the worst part of this, though, that when this happened...
Because the state wants your kids.
When he said you can still do cartoons, you can say what you want. I was
yeah.
Fucking hell, good on you, fella.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you can't teach them at home in case you're radicalised.
Yeah. And by that, it's not just... I mean, look, it's wrong anyway to say to people who's,
But is that where they're radicalised anyway? I've got an idea it's not often in the house.
No.
But I don't want to say it out loud in case he shuts all the fucking mosques as well.
Yeah.
It is a problem, but France have obviously, he's got his own issues in France.
Totalitarianism on steroids in France.
And also, if he doesn't front this out and tough it up, he knows he does have some right-wing parties in France that are nipping at his ass.
Yeah.
And if he fumbles that one, you get a Le Pen in. And I'm not being funny, I know it's not great Muslim people in France, but if Marie Le Pen gets in...
Well, she'd just be another Trump, wouldn't she?
And I think she'd be worse.
Close the fucking borders, that bollocks,
We do. I mean, I know America...
They don't want to close the borders, of course. None of them do.
No, America, most powerful nation in the earth. We know that. Europeans, though, we've been nasty for thousands upon thousands.
Yeah, you're falling into this fucking trap. We've done fuck all to anybody. People, exactly.
I like to put myself.
Yeah.
Now, it's when people say to me, isn't it? Well, your ancestors kept slaves. My ancestors basically were fucking slaves in workshop.
Of course they
digging coal out.
Of course
the
they
ground.
fucking were. Absolutely.
They were indentured slaves, basically.
My great grandparents were saying mass in fucking bushes in Ireland. In case constabulary rounded them up and fucking shot them. This whole white privilege thing, I love having fun with this. This idea that, a bloke who grew up on a housing estate called Ballybeg in Waterford, which has got some of the finest people in the world living there. And I'm proud of it, proud to be from Ballybeg in Waterford. This idea that I had some advantage in my lifetime because I'm fucking white, or that anything I'm doing now, if it is successful, and that's subjective, you said some lovely things about the radio show. It's subjective as to whether it's successful or not. But the idea that my whiteness somehow contributed, go and fuck right off with that.
Well, to be fair, I think Irish only just scrape over in the whiteness in general down there.
The blacks of Europe. And the North Dubliners are the blacks of Dublin and all the rest of it. Absolutely.
It was like when I did that thing on the radio show where I said something about pikeys.
Oh, yeah. Did you use the word pikey, did you?
I did use the word pikey, yes. And it kicked off because a few got in touch, really angry ones. When he looked at the profile on social media, flamboyantly dressed. And one said, it's racism. I said, it's not racism, you're not a race.
No.
Then it came back, though. You'll find we're genetically very... I said, can I just stop you there? You're proud of the fact that you share the same genetic material with just a few hundred other people in a small part of rural Ireland.
Don't start with, exactly.
That's getting very soupy. That's not a race. That's a disaster.
Final word on anti-Semitism. That's why a lot of the Zionist groups didn't like me either, because I, like most Jews, it must be said, don't believe the Jews are a race either. Just to get that in, because I didn't say it earlier on. But you're right, with the travellers make me laugh.
Oh, they're brilliant.
Absolutely world class. And those television shows of the weddings, I mean, I normally don't like trash television, but I'll watch that stuff all day long, because those people are fucking real.
I love
I've met those people.
The mixture of outright villainy.
Oh yeah.
And suspiciously strong morals.
Oh yeah, and the undying love of the baby Jesus.
But Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Oh, but they love the baby Jesus. I've never been able to figure this out. Every caravan I ever went into had the Sacred Heart picture. Again, look it up, people. Sacred Heart, but also a picture of the baby Jesus.
Yeah.
We've laughed at this, me and you, for years. Some travellers, it's almost like Jesus never grew to be 33 before he was crucified. They pray to the baby Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to his mum.
And to his mum.
That's my favourite as well. He's like, we pray to his mum.
Do you know what?'re not too far away from some. I mean, I'm in Salford there. There's quite. Shut me fucking mouth, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. You got
things will get a bit dicey
down there. Well, you know, you're going to have to roll with the punches.
A great friend of mine runs a laundrette. And another friend of mine runs a business. And they're fairly iffy about doing business with them. Because...
Well, fair enough.
Well, because of that kind of propensity they have for changing the terms of the deal.
Yes,
after the goods have been exchanged. Yes. Trying to be very diplomatic there. Yeah, we agreed on 60 quid for that 500 big cold all bags of laundry. We're not now dropping the price to 20. I've just used about 600 fucking boxes of Ariel. But I love the travellers, and like Tommy Tiernan said, the Irish comedian, I'm a bit scared of them as well.
Well, they do like a fight.
They like a fight.
I mean, for about 3 years, we sent that video backwards and forwards almost fucking daily.
Sign And I know the families. Everybody back home knows the families. These families have been feuding forever. The Joyces. Chunky Joe Joyce.
Junkies bastard.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, just go and look up some traveller call-out videos. Might be pikey call-out.
It's the greatest comedy. It's the greatest comedy I've ever seen in my life. Back in the day, before YouTube. I mean, this is amazing. This is a real cultural thing. These families, they've been feuding for years. These travelling families that move around in these caravans. Many of them are wealthy. They hate when people say that, but they are wealthy. They've
all got a Range Rover.
Range Rovers, and many of them have houses in a place called Rathkeil in Limerick. They've got houses. They go around, they do their business. They're very wily, very, very, very smart people. Culturally.
And they're always at home when the dole delivery.
Always, oh yes. And listen, growing up in Ballybeg in Waterford, many is the 3-piece suite that my mother bought for me. And we didn't give a fiddler's fuck if it fell off the back of a lorry.
Of course not.
It was cheap and it was cheerful. But yeah, when they don't get on, they settle their differences by fighting. And somebody puts up something called a fair play man. And that's what he's known as, a fair play man. And a fair play man is a man who guarantees that the fight will be fair.
Yeah.
And he stands in the middle. And money's put up.
The killjoy, as I call it.
The killjoy. But years ago, they would start throwing down the gauntlet by making VHS videos. Throwing down the gauntlet. Oh, fucking brilliant. They mailed them to one another. So I would sit in front of a camera at home in Salford. And I would go, do you see you now, Hayden Hewitt? I've got no problem with all the rest of the Hewitts. Just you bastard, me and you, on the 17th. It was almost like the old WWF promos. Randy Macho Man Savage, on the 27th at the Silver Dome, me and Hulk Hogan. And he would do that.
Now it's the 27th at Aldi's.
That's right. Back and forth these videos would go. And they are masterpieces, these videos. Like you would imagine the British Film Museum. There must be a place for these videos. And of course, the greatest one is Simey calling out
Wooly Woo.
Wooly Woo. That's it. Yeah. Fantastic. Your viewers should check it out. Look for traveller call-out videos.
Alex,
world class.
If you're there, dude, try and find it, because young Alex is still with us.
Oh, is he still there? Is he Alex?
Is still doing his
Good
thing.
Man. How you doing, Alex?
He's been very poorly, but he's doing okay now. He's had the COVIDs. He's been really ill.
Be a fucking man, Alex. You had the flu.
You had a cold.
Look at us in the middle of fucking winter, t-shirts on.
If you can find it, drop a link. We'll failing that. We'll dig one out. And we'll put a link in
Richie,
the replay.
Look like 2 boiled eggs.
Oh, we've got the chat up.
I see.
Too busy.
I see people are saying things. Good job.
In Revelation, it mentions how the rich men of I'm not going there, but that's cool. I say it's been very busy. Boiled eggs. I won't fucking eat either of those. I don't like eggs with fucking beards on.
Yeah.
That shit's not right. Well, as we're cracking on, because we know we set a sort of reasonable time limit, and it's not like it's going to be the last time we're doing this.
No, it's not. No,
especially once you're back here doing your show. You're not going up. We're not going to open the doors till we're finished.
Yeah, and beverages are consumed.
Oh yes, I think next time we'll do that.
We will. I mean, I drove tonight, so there's no way. This is the only time I ever virtue signal.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way I'm getting in a car.
That's
with
not
even a half
virtue
a beer.
signaling. That's just being a decent human
When
being.
I was in Spain, I was a bastard, though.
Yeah,
like
but
everybody
that's
else.
Spain. It doesn't matter. You can hit a few of them, and it's okay. But here in the motherland,
you
can't be killing the natives.
No, I got away with stuff I shouldn't have gotten away with in Spain. Like everybody else out there, it was a cultural thing. People drove to your bar, they got sozzled, they drove home. And on your night off, you went to a restaurant, got sozzled and drove home.
No,
I'm not proud of it. I'll never do it again.
We'll get one sorted. We'll all Uber in, and we'll all Uber home.
Marvellous.
And we'll just have a few libations.
I'll be driving an Uber this time next year, by the way.
Yeah, well, don't drive your own Uber. Well, I'm coming to that after this bit.
Yeah.
Have some fucking patience, Alan.
No, it just occurred to me. I've had an idea to do the radio show in an Uber, but just broadcast your passengers. I've had that idea. I've spoken to Karen. You pick people up and you bore the piss out of them with a show.
All here is you going, will you put that fucking mask on or I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. The mask.
But we will definitely deal with a few drinks on one of these, and then we might have to check ourselves first, because it could get a bit nasty. But
I like a Bacardi.
Before I have noticed you do quite enjoy the ladies' drinks from the 1970s.
The ladies' drinks from the 70s. Jesus Christ.
Pernod,
you're thinking next. Pernod.
Oh no, I'm thinking Bacardi. But Cinzano, you want to get into the Cinzano? Hey, it's nearly Christmas. Should we get some Advocar?
Do we have some?
Whoa!
Do we have some here? I have to get an Uber, then come back tomorrow and collect the car. Can't do that. No.
Advocar.
Oh,
getting shit-faced on that. That'd be like being 12 again.
What did we start off on? We started off on Buckfast. Didn't we? Most of us.
With me, Advocar, I'm basically of a bit better breeding than you. But
let's get a bottle. Next time I'm in an off license, because it's been so long, tonic wine. I'm going to buy a bottle of it.
It's only.
I can't remember what it tastes like.
It's only good for you.
Must be if it's called tonic wine.
It's got tonic in it.
Blue Nun.
Power of good.
Liebfraumilch.
We're going to be in a fucking disgraceful mess.
Got to do that. Got to do that over Christmas. Yeah.
We'll nip in and do a broadcast. In fact, we'll just record it, and then if we watch it the next day and go, we'll just bury it. We'll just fuck it off. But before we go, what's next, dude? What's happening?
Well, I don't believe that I'll be able to do what I do the way I do it next year. Now, some people who have been with me for a number of years, they might say, well, you have been prophesizing that doom now, Richie, for 3 or 4 years. Yes, I have. You and I know people. I've got a couple of people that I've known for years working in compliance for television companies in this country. Compliance means that they work for the BBC and make sure that their programs are Ofcom compliant.
Yes.
Another great friend of mine is a great journalist called Professor Julian Petley. I consider him one of the greatest journalists in the country's history. Wonderful man. And they've been saying to me for some years now, they are going to insist before too long that let's say sole traders or independent content creators like yourself can't continue to do that. You must be brought in from the cold and subjected to licensing. You must apply for a license, we'll give it to you, and so on. And that didn't happen as quick as I thought it would happen, but it will happen.
Well, when we first spoke, it was on the Live League show.
Yeah, that's right.
When you just started at TPV, I think we'd just been in touch. It was just getting ready to go live, wasn't it? I can't remember why you got in touch and we got chatting and we got on.
No, because I loved liveleague.com.
And I said, well, why don't you come on the show? And the first thing we spoke about was what Ofcom were doing at the time, and they were trying to get to a position where they could levy unlimited fines. And my point was, an unlimited fine, all that means is they don't have to fine you $1 billion. They just have to fine you that little bit more than you can afford, and they've shut you down. Unlimited is a terrifying phrase. Of course it is. Yeah. It has no place in law.
Of course it doesn't.
Unlimited. Everything should be finite.
And yet we see poor fuckers thrown into jail on tariffs Well, you never know if they're going to get out or not. I've had mothers on the programme talking about that. We're living in a fucking basket case.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm as human as anyone else. When you see someone that's been killing kids or someone like that, they go, it's a whole lifetime. I'm like, God, fuck them.
Yeah, but I was talking to a mum, her kid was a thief and stuff like that.
Well, Charles Bronson,
yeah.
He went in for he was only going to go in for 4 years.
Violence.
I mean, he's been a bit naughty.
He's obviously a fucking lunatic, Charles Bronson.
He's kidnapped a few people.
Yeah.
Threatened to eat some Iraqis. Broken some noses, but he's been in prison for life. He's never getting out. But he's never killed anyone. Charles Manson.
He's never raped anybody or
Charles Manson was a bad bastard. Probably did kill someone when he was a drug dealer. There was no strong evidence he told anyone to kill anybody. Spent the entirety of his life in prison. But he was just...
One of them is trying to get out now. Leslie Van Outen, is that right? Is that her name? Leslie Van Outen, one of the...
It's something like that.
He's trying to get out. They'll never let her out.
Someone I know would be furious at me right now for not knowing, but I've never been that up on the Tate murders. But
I ruined your train of thought. You're right. You were talking about unlimited fines for broadcasters.
And we ended up on
the
Charles
danger
Manson.
is that.
How the fuck did we do that?
5 steps.
You're only 5 steps
5
away
steps
from
to
Charles
make
Manson.
How do you do it? So unlimited fines. What we're looking at next year, I think, is where the online harms bill is is fucking horrendous. We know this.
That's Lucy Swan's bill, isn't
Lucy Swan's bill.
Do you know I spoke to her about it?
No way. Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, she's a Mancunian.
I got in touch with her, and
she's Mancunian, right?
Yeah, she's a Manchester MP anyway.
Be a safe seat.
I made a tweet about it, and she got in touch and said, "Could I send you the full bill?" I went, "Yeah, of course." So they sent me the bill, and
80 pages.
I'm not a genius or an expert. I read the whole thing. I read what they wanted it to achieve. I underlined all the parts I said that wouldn't achieve what they wanted it to achieve, because that's not how it works. And I explained it. I didn't rip it to bits. I was, I thought, well, I'm never going to get away with pushing that out of the bill, but this won't work. This won't work. It won't do what you want. All it will do is chill the free speech of ordinary people, which is fine for them. I sent it back, and basically what she said was, I'll just listen to the experts. So I sent one going, who are they?
Who are they, That's a great question, isn't it?
The end of it.
Who ultimately will advise you on what to do? Because whatever you are advised to do, you'll just fucking do. Think tanks run governments. Governments don't run governments.
Is it Unit 77 Brigade?
77 Brigade, yeah. What are you going to do? What you're going to do is next year you're going to say that certain things can't be heard or seen. And they're going to... They're doing it already with vaccine information and stuff. They're so desperate for everybody on planet Earth to get this vaccine. They're already deleting, culling, chopping content creators who, some of whom might be complete barking fucking stone mad. Fair enough. I don't say fair enough that they should delete them. I'm not saying they should delete them. But others are channels that allow people who have earned the right to say that they've got a problem with this brand new vaccine. That's a new vaccine of its type that's never been seen before. They've every right to express caution or concern.
In my view, though,
this is where we're going, though.
If someone says it's pumped out of the teats of green aliens,
let it be.
It's their right to think that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's my right to enjoy it. So Alex Jones has been banned everywhere.
Yeah.
Still haven't had an answer about getting him on this fucking show. I've not given up, but by crikey.
The mobile number I gave is probably an old one.
But there's probably not a lot in it for him just yet. But, banning Alex Jones... I find Alex Jones tremendously entertaining. And then someone says, well, what about the Sandy Hook thing? I said, you know what? He fucked up royally there. He fucked up. But that's Alex. Someone puts a piece of paper in front of him. Oh, God damn, I'm on. And then later on he went, I was wrong. And he said, I was wrong, which is pretty rare.
Yeah.
But he said, I was wrong. Sorry. I got that wrong. Some information came through. I went with it.
Yeah.
I can't help what happened. But that's all they'll say now. So when I say, well, he should have been left on, I found him hugely entertaining. He has broken some very interesting stories over the years. But mostly, I just find him fun to fucking watch.
And he's untouchable anyway because he's got his own network, hasn't he?
Also, they've taken away my enjoyment because I won't go there.
Yeah, you won't go over there to watch him, yeah.
And, but Sandy Hook's like, okay, we are not defined by one fucking mistake.
No.
If his mistake was he ran over 25 kids, let's define someone.
Yeah.
If he murdered some children.
That did for the first Richie Allen YouTube channel. Sandy Hook did for it.
Yeah, he fucked up.
Me interviewing Wolfgang Holbig and challenging him and arguing with him on his belief, which he still holds very firmly. He believes that it was a very spooky, weird, sort of false flag thing. Wolfgang still believes that. I interviewed him, I challenged him, I played the clips of jeez, I should remember.
But it was
his name
never
there.
enough. He was
The
too
father.
toxic.
Well, this is it, and so I don't know, but yeah, next year it's going to be big. Next year, 2021 is going to. We're going to see a lot. We're going to see a lot of these agendas gather pace. The agenda to homogenise the independent media. Yeah, we're going to see that. I have no doubt in my mind, and I'm not actually pessimistic. It's not a kind of a poor me thing. If it comes to the stage where they say, and they will have it within their remit to say, if you don't have the license, we can shut you down. They will do that. Confiscation of equipment, of course they'll do that. So it'll be a case of you'll have to get the license. But of course, once you get the license then, like I've had 2 videos removed from this current YouTube channel recently, and they're saying, we'll take another one away and we'll delete the channel. I don't care, fair enough, go ahead and do it. But with Ofcom, of course, that would mean license to broadcast revoked forever.
Yes.
You know, we've twice, Richie, we've warned you, 3rd time. So yeah, I don't know if our viewers tonight, your audience, and I don't know if my listeners on the radio show on a daily basis, I don't think they realise just how serious it is. Next year, they're coming for shows like ours. They are big time, 100%. And it won't be a case next year, Richie, we're banging on about that for 5 years. Next year is the year.
It's where it starts.
Yeah.
It's where it starts. And I believe they'll make it look very palatable. You've still got your freedom of speech. This just protects us from people encouraging violence and extremists, terrorists. Because we all know that terrorists do fucking YouTube streams from a place in Manchester,
of course.
you know.
Yeah.
And that's how it will be sold, and people will embrace it, and the online harms bill will be enacted, and then it'll be, I mean, the irony is trigger warning would probably be all right for a while, right up until I had you on.
That's right. Yeah.
But the problem is, and as Graham knows, much to his own depression, I can't fucking help myself, and I'd have you on anyway.
Well, so why would you? I mean, why would you self-censor?
I can't.
No.
I mean, I do, because the things I won't say even on our stream, you know, because I'm not fucking stupid.
Well, and you're not stupid, and there is also such a thing as taste. Yeah. Sometimes you think, that's a bit distasteful.
Well, I'm renowned
so I
for
won't
taste.
Say it. No, you're
renowned.
not, particularly, you're not known for your ability to hold back. But of course there are things that you think, sometimes I'm in the middle of a sentence, and I'm about to say something in a monologue that I think is funny.
The breaks come on, don't they?
The breaks.
Yeah.
You know, I will think, I've actually thought of it in the day, and when I've come to that stage in the monologue, I've thought of something that's going to be very funny, and I'm going to say it. And it has occurred to me that it might be fairly hurtful to a certain person or a certain group to hear that, and I might not be able to explain myself later on, so I just won't say it. And I'm somebody who says he never self-censors, but to a point sometimes, of course,
we all do.
You all do. Anyway.
It's like when people tell me I don't believe in any censorship. Nothing should be censored, so I would go, child porn.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's illegal. Oh, so we'll censor illegal.
Yeah.
Fine. But you know, I've had it with Lively, people telling me we want more freedom. I mean, I'd have fucking loved to have made that happen. But more freedom. Why are you showing press TV? What? You supporting the Iranians? What the fuck? What?
From somebody who demanded a bit more freedom on the site.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, but we don't want to see that freedom.
But you're not supporting anything. You're facilitating a TV news network that was fucked out of Hanger Lane.
You defend
exactly
freedom.
Even if you disagree with them.
And that's the cost.
Absolutely.
Look at that shit with Geert Wilders all those years ago. You know, I mean, I give a fuck about Geert Wilders.
None of us would ever. There are people that we utterly despise. Maybe they're not the same people. I think there are some of the same people we don't like.
Some are definitely the same
No doubt
people.
about it. But there's no way in hell that I could ever be happy or satisfied or smile when they get booted off any platform. No fucking way. It sends a chill down me back, down my spine when it happens.
I can't help it that there's been a bit of schadenfreude for me recently.
With who?
Because Twitter just kicks off a load of far left people. And,
the
hashtag was Stop the Left Purge.
Oh, I saw the hashtag.
From all the people that be going, ban the Conservative, ban those right-wingers, ban everyone.
Why were they booting them off?
Just because they were assholes and they fell foul of the rules. Remember, like they like to say, you can always go and make your own Twitter.
Make your own Twitter, yeah.
It's a private platform. Suck it up.
Is anybody using Parler?
I imagine it's very popular. I don't care for it just because I don't like anywhere that's one thing. It doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
I love the friction. That's what I enjoy, of different ideologies, different beliefs, different opinions, clashing. I enjoy that. And clashing doesn't have to be bad. It's just, the best creativity comes from tension,
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Parlay, parlay, it's parlay, that's right, yeah.
I'm wrong, parlay, is that what it's called?
Parlay.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure, doesn't parlay, the actual word, have a Z on the end?
No.
Parlez-vous?
Parlez-vous does, that's the French term, but parlay is P-A-R-L-A-Y, no?
Yeah, I don't do foreign.
Me neither.
I'm English.
That makes two of us. It's a bit of breaking news, by the way. I'm going to interrupt your train of thought again, because I'll forget it. And it's all about me.
It is tonight.
No, it's not.
No, it is.
Dr. Vernon Coleman sent me an email. I actually contacted me while I was in the car on the way over to you. I wasn't reading emails while I was driving, dear viewers. And he got in touch with me, and he said he made a complaint to the Independent Press Standards Organisation, IPSO, because the Spectator ran a piece basically saying that mask wearing was scientifically proven, irrefutable, everybody else is a fucking lunatic. And Vernon took exception to that. And he reported the Spectator to IPSO, as was his right, and I would have done the same thing. And he learned today that IPSO has upheld Dr. Vernon Coleman's complaint that that he was right in saying, how dare they say that it's settled. We know full fucking well the masks don't prevent. It's like trying to stop a pea getting through a fucking tennis racket. Viruses go through them. He knows this. The World Health Organization knew this. And I wonder, will any of tomorrow's newspapers, of course they fucking won't, pick up on the fact that Vernon Coleman, this pariah, he's not a prize, a great guy, great gentleman, wonderful gentleman, has won against the Spectator. Good man.
He's done the job.
He's done the job.
Is it not true with masks? It's like, yes, it won't stop you, but it could lower the viral load at best. At best,
yeah.
With a fresh mask, correctly fitted, i.e. not worn like a neck beard. And just I love seeing that. They walk around with them pulled down. I was out there the other day because at school,
with a fag on.
Well, at school.
What the
Well, at school,
fuck?
we have to wear them on school grounds.
Yeah.
So, all right, you know what? Yeah.
I know, it's the kid. What are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm in the school.
You can't win
grounds.
every fucking war, can
No.
you? Every battle. Even.
I can't seem to win that many. Do you know he's not getting Christmas dinner at school? Because he takes packed lunches in. They've said the kids that take packed lunches in aren't having the sit-down Christmas meal.
Why?
Because they can't accommodate all the kids in the hall.
Social distance.
But these kids are all in classes together.
They're all in classes together, but they can't have the sit-down Christmas meal together.
And they don't even get one in the classroom.
You can't. There's no point in speaking to these people. You can't say anything.
There's nothing I can do.
You're wasting your fucking time, right?
But with the masks, when it was free, I'm too angry to even think about that.
Yeah.
My lad loves that sort of shit. He's 8 years old. He's beautiful.
They're denying him the rights to sit with his mates.
Yeah, and enjoy a Christmas dinner.
What the show of fucking bastards.
Yeah, and it's not that I couldn't have a go at the headmistress.
Disassociate yourself from those remarks quickly.
It hasn't come from her. It hasn't come from the teachers. It's come from the governors and the academy.
NHS England.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when we were in the playground the other day, we had that cold snap, and we're all in the playground, and half the people got masks on. But when it's really cold, you get to see where people breathe. And all I'm watching is people breathing the fuck all over everybody else's head.
That's right.
Head is coming out the sides
Masks
of the
are
mask.
fucking useless. Masks are useless. Nobody can dispute that. It's tyranny.
It's a placebo as well.
And it's tyranny. You hear that Jean-Claude Van fucking Tam dickhead with his football analogies. That useless fucking moron. Looks like Penfold from Danger Mouse. Using these football analogies about, we
look
scored
how
a
we're letting
penalty.
people down now as well. They're going, well, you won't have full immunity, and you might still be able to give it to people, but we want you to have this vaccine we've rushed so you can still stay in the fucking house for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why didn't you just lock us down for 6 months
Yeah.
and spend 6 months sorting the fucking vaccine out? Or waiting for a better one?
Transforming human existence, transforming the human experience, deliberately being done.
Well, there's a difference between living and existing.
Yeah.
Now, we've all been at times in our life when we've been existing.
Yeah, of course
For
we have.
whatever
When things have been
reason.
shit, absolutely.
But you know what? Even at the worst of times, you can still have a life.
Of course.
But they're taking that away.
Brick by fucking brick. Of course
I
they are.
believe that. Well, it's not. I don't give a fuck what people call me a conspiracy theorist. I'm old enough and ugly enough to know that when you give a government a power, they never relinquish it.
Never.
And when they tell you it's temporary, keep your fucking eyes on.
Permanent.
Because they'll slip that shit right back in. Like they've been doing with the vaccine and Brexit, you know, and just same thing. Every fucking shit sandwich. We got your vaccine. Got a problem with the fish. But look at the vaccine, you know, and the Pentagon hiding trillions.
That barrel of fucking monkey spunk is going to sell out the country's fishermen again. Do you know that?
He's going to sell everybody
What
out.
the fuck? I'm not going to say
Well,
it.
I know deal Brexit's illegal.
Yeah.
Everyone says we're going to have one. Legally, we can't. So what the fuck do we do?
Yeah, the withdrawal agreement, of course, which every committed Brexiteer knew was a fucking sellout, which meant leaving in name only. Of course, but people don't understand. They don't want to know people. People don't want to fucking know. You know?
Well, it's headlines, isn't it? It's headlines. No one goes beyond the headlines now. We're at 20 to 11, dude.
Yeah.
I could probably have chatted for another hour, but I do need a wee.
You need a wee.
You need to get home because
I need to get home.
It's way past your bedtime.
Oh, it is, yeah. That's no joke. I'm normally in bed by 10:15 most nights.
I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I'm a 5 o'clock riser, you see.
Well, a bit later. I'm
gone.
in bed.
I'm in bed.
What do you mean? It's 9:30.
I know. Ordinarily doing very little next to a buxom, statuesque
I like to think
French,
that if you were,
gorgeous French woman.
You wouldn't have taken a
When it
minute
takes
off
it
to
back,
text me.
yeah.
Just
Multitasking.
1 minute, love.
Multitasking, yeah.
What is it? It's just Hayden.
Yeah.
Is it important?
No. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Do you know what,
It's
been
flown
great.
by,
And
actually.
do you know what's really nice? We've not had a chance to sit down and talk.
We haven't, mate.
ages.
Not because of all of this fucking nonsense.
It's been madness. It's like been a year from
Plenty of
fucking
comments
hell.
there.
and it's
Complimentary?
not gone well.
No, not a chance.
Oh, they love you. What are you talking
And
about?
Tam looks like Tubbs from League of Gentlemen, does he?
I'll have to take their word for that.
I'll look for that image later on.
Yes, but Richie, dude, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Been my pleasure,
It's always
mate.
a fucking pleasure.
Yeah, it's been fantastic being back down here. It's been I've not been here for over a year.
I know. Well,
What was it? The meat space thing.
Yes.
Last time I was in here, so
Oh, that's a sore point for us.
12 months ago, was it?
We loved that. More than 12 months now. We should have done 2 more.
I know you would have had more, yeah.
But you know what? Maybe 2022. If I'm still alive, we'll shoot for that. But no, it's been fucking great having you. Always enjoyable.
Thanks,
in
buddy.
the new year, we're going to have your show coming out.
Can't wait to do the show from here, yeah.
And that means we'll be doing lots more of this shit. Because, you know, we might as well all go down in one big, messy fucking tangle, haven't we?
In big,
when it all happens.
in a big Zeppelin balloon, just one
Yeah.
big fucking explosion.
That's
Yeah, why
it.
not?
It's the way it's got to be, isn't it? It's written in the fucking stars. Richie, cheers, mate. It's been a fucking pleasure.
Don't mind that social distancing bollocks.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Thanks
that's
very
not
much.
at my arm. It's special effects. All done digital.
Green screen.
Uh,
Thanks, Graham, by the way, for
Yes.
keeping it on
He's
air.
been nice and quiet. He didn't notice the volume was off at the beginning, but he's been nice and quiet.
You know that was one of your traps that you set me. I know your game, Aiden. Made me look like a dick.
Fixed it well, though, didn't you? Click on that, Graham.
Panic stations.
We had to get him a paper bag when we went off air for a minute. It does stress you out, though.
Oh, the old hypervent. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I wanted to do right by Richie tonight. I didn't want to be,
Well, you fucked it up.
He's
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to
You
watching
didn't
it back.
do right
I'll
by
watch it
him
back
at
tomorrow.
all.
It'll be a thing of beauty.
You've let him down. This magnificent Irish bastard.
I'm reading the
sat
comments
here.
now.
You've let him down. If I didn't dig you out, it wouldn't be worth it, would it?
Oh, no.
Guys, thank you so much for joining Richie and myself.
very
and
much.
Graham, and thanks for your patience when we fucked it up at the beginning. Probably was my fault, but we'll blame Graham. At Graham Booth on Twitter. And do forget to, don't
the
forget,
BJ's out of it.
I'm at Hayden Hewitt. Compliments to me. Shit to Graham, if you don't mind. We will be back next week for our Christmas show. Be all jolly. Crypt Daddy's joining us, Donovan. Hopefully Drone Tech as well. Just, you know, they'll pop in, pop out. And then we're going to be off for a couple of weeks because there's Christmas and New Year, and I do try and have a life. But I will pop on streams from home when I'm drunk and probably stream VR games when I'm shit-faced because that's what Christmas is all about. But don't forget, on Saturday, Smoke Steve has got his international pub at 11 p.m. Just grab a couple of drinks, go and hang out in there. Sometimes I pop in, Graham pops in. And we just hang out and chat shit. So make sure you do that. And if you do like Trigger Warning and you do want to help us out because we're so gorgeous and wonderful, go to patreon.com/triggerwarningtv. Become a patron. Even $1 a month helps a lot. If you can't or don't want to do that, it's fine. Share the links and get word out there. And if you don't want to do that, just watch the shows. If you don't want to do that, go fuck yourself. Remember, Saturday Smoke Steve. We're back next Thursday with more Trigger Warning. And cheers. Bye-bye.